Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Torchlight. You know, I was sitting here listening to the music and boy is this reminiscent of Diablo. Like to the point of potential like copyright infringement. Although music and copyright is always a mess in general. I would almost argue that significant amounts of music would have to be copied before you could really claim infringement, because the language, as it were, like there's 26 letters in the alphabet, whereas arguably there's only like A through G in the musical alphabet, with sharps and flats, which then would double it, because sharp or flat just is take your pick there. An A sharp is a B flat. What was that? Green lines that just happened there. Boy, this layout is exactly the same as what we've seen before in this area. Oh, that's a trap, and there's a stepping platform here. So you can stand here and that activates that trap. Oh, it only activates it once. So as long as you're just moving, it won't even hurt you. Interesting. Questionable how much damage I'd really take. The introduction of traps into a game like this starts to make that. I'll take all the wells just in case there's an achievement or it gives me any experience for doing that. So this is the side quest area that last time we did a side quest area like this, one of these portal quests, it felt a lot more custom made. So I wonder if perhaps the fact that I've seen this design and this layout or something slightly familiar to this design is an indication that the main story had some custom laid out areas too. Either that, or it's just a case of the cut and paste mechanics here are not great. This concept of interchangeable layouts gets done over and over again. You see it in like Doom 2016 snap map technology. You see it in so many other things, and it kinda has to exist for a Diablo-esque game. It would be asking quite a lot to have somebody manually generate everything. But then you can also get down to something like Skyrim, where a lot of the caves and places in Skyrim were randomly generated to start off with and then polished. And there might be a better thought in designing your levels that way, having a little bit of have a little bit of randomness and then some actual thought and logic behind it. This layout part looks new. We're running into a decent amount of poison places, that poison enemies. To be careful to collect everything, as these giant leaves here are blocking our view. That's not a smart way to do anything. So we're not getting attacked over this direction, which makes me assume that this is probably the side quest direction. go ahead and use our spell. I'm standing on spider webs, so it's slowing me down. Notice that there's been a couple of things that slow me down. So yeah, I don't think we'll ever get to a position where it's super accelerated running through levels. And at a certain point, that's not really what I would even want, even though I am trying to have a shorter experience by playing on easy and really just knowing that I'm trying to play this Torchlight 1 until once through to get to Torchlight 2. I don't want to mad dash through everything and not pick up items and not play the game in total. It's also kind of occurred to me that I don't think I actually remember the differences between Diablo 1 and Diablo 2. I've said in the past that Act 1 of Diablo 1 is in the city. I'm not sure, now that I think about it, if all the game actually of Diablo 1 is built around a central city location, which would explain Torchlight also being built around the central location. Although it seems like it would be ridiculous to make a spiritual successor to Diablo 1 and not take into consideration that Diablo 2 had definitely existed and had definitely added some elements that people would know existed and compared to it. So yeah, if this was supposed to be a complete replacement for Diablo 1 and do everything that Diablo 1 did, then it fails on that point because it doesn't stick 100% to Diablo 1. So if that's not what you're trying to do, oops, I'm about to die. Gotta pay attention. And pretty much anytime I can cast the heal spell, I should cast the heal spell. I'm just gonna try and get it to... oh.
My health is low.
Alright, so my heal spell doesn't actually cast fast enough for me to be in the fray dealing with that. Did I get everything? No. By no means. And it seems like you only actually build up gold. It doesn't seem like you build up other items and abilities. Let's see. Still waiting till rank 20, which means we can put more into our pet mastery ability. Then change this menu. Yeah, I'm starting to run into, because of the slowdown effect, I'm starting to run into dangerous situations, which makes me think that we might be getting down to a point where I need to actually increase my defense more, because these heavy hitters are hitting me harder than I would have expected. We have like 2 named enemies on top of each other, both doing major amounts of damage. And you can see the dog's really not doing anything. Alright, so put more into defense. And we're at rank 20, which means reduces the purchase price of merchants, enchantments, and gamblings, improves the sale. There we go, barter. barter goes up 5 levels, or maybe even 10 ranks by the time we're at rank at level 25. Ranks and levels being different things, it's confusing to say the least. So more money, less problems, hopefully. There is definitely an imbalance happening here with the reward you get versus the enemies I'm fighting, and I don't know if the game has decided to rebalance itself or what. And that's why I'm running into more difficult enemies than it feels like I should be. These little guys, though, I pretty much could just stand here and they're not gonna hurt me enough. There's just a lot of them, which then turns this game into a much more of a clicker than it probably should be.
A trap has been sprung.
We're no longer one-hit killing enemies. So that's a level 18 spider, and I assume it's a level 18 spider that I'm running into because I'm a level 20 player. I wouldn't be surprised if the numbers get refreshed every time you go through a portal to a new area or to a new floor. It's also a matter of the quick saving here that they really aren't indicating, which frankly is what I thought was not allowed at all. It is, I felt from the beginning, as soon as the Xbox 360 had hard drive support, or yeah, and probably way even before then, because this was something that was actually being said as far back as I recall as the Super Nintendo 64. Yeah, when it had a save accessory. Like, we've always had this announcement that the game is saving and not to remove the save card. Like, you've seen it millions and millions of times, probably. And yet this game does not seem to show any kind of like spinning logo or saving in the top left screen. Really nothing like that at all that would indicate that the game ever saves. And yet I kind of know the game saves, or at least I heavily suspect that it saves, because we are constantly capable of playing this game without dying and risking ourselves terribly. Although I guess I haven't also died, so it could be simply a matter of me not testing that theory. And I don't really plan to die. Interesting. This one is 217 with average attack speed, where my gun is slow attack speed. So we're starting to see a point where this unique rifle might no longer be the right move. Let's see. I want to almost see if I could convert these town portal scrolls into something by transmuting them. So we'll hold on to those and see if we can actually make it to a transmute. Now, did I walk this way? Apparently not. go ahead and heal all while we're playing. There's all kinds of glittering things to collect. I don't want to be too OCD about this stuff, but I also don't want to miss content or miss items. The whole movement up until this point has been around getting our barter up, getting our gold drop up, trying as much as possible to gain as much money as possible, to get as best armor as possible. It's a whole system there. That's the whole point of a loot game, for better or worse. And I kind of think for worse now. If I was going to make a modern loot game, it would be like almost 100% story based, with perhaps some infinitely generating dungeons at the very end of the game if you want to keep on playing. Yeah, the dog's pathfinding is so bad that he can't get down to these enemies, but he apparently will follow you instead of chasing enemies after a while, if you get far enough away from him. The dog is doing a kind of large amount of the work. Yeah. So yeah, if I was gonna make a loot game, I would have you play through a level, grind through those levels, just find gold on regular enemies, and nothing else. I would have a very limited collection of items available at the stores, and then I would have one unique set of equipment that you would get from special named characters. And ideally, by the time you were at the final boss of a floor, you would have killed 5 or 6 sub-bosses and gotten their armor, or you could speedrun it and just run straight to the boss and not have that armor set. And then you would get one weapon after defeating the main boss of a floor. That's how I would simplify gameplay and just shorten it totally. And then we'd do that at most 50 floors before I would just move on to finish the game. I feel like I may have left a ton of things on the ground, but I'm not even going to bother. Let's just move forward. I would make the hero choice real easy in a modern Diablo-esque game. I'd say male or female looking character, take your pick. That's pretty much all I would do. After that, you could take your own choice of hero class, which you could just spec into. So if you wanted to play as a mage, you'd just give yourself more mage points. That's something I think in Diablo, well, in video games versus Dungeons and Dragons, that kind of falls apart. Is Dungeons and Dragons, you can make any collection of heroes just by writing on pen and paper, whereas a video game is going to have to program a difference between a dwarf and an elf, versus just saying it out loud and it being true.
My pack is full.
Let's see. So why not just have you play as either male or female human, or maybe you go with different species, but then there's not really a difference other than visually there. That might be something to consider. Let's see. by the time I get all the Gorgon set, if I actually do get the Gorgon set, it'll be so useless anyways. So
I'm
yeah.
overburdened.
Okay. Identify scrolls on top of that. Alright. So
Your
send,
pet has departed.
send the pet. Meanwhile, we can mark the rest of these as things that we wouldn't use. And I think it's pretty obvious we wouldn't. A swift range bow with 4% attack speed, but it requires level 23. We might get to that point. We might really get to that point where we try for a swift attack bow. Because let's face it, it is a bit of a slower attack that we have right now with the shotgun. It's not, speaking of paying attention here, and just did a heal all and it's not doing anything. Is that because I was standing on the stairs? Why is this not working? This is weird. Well,
Your pet has returned.
apparently you cannot do heal all unless your pet is with you. That sounds insane. Absolutely and totally insane. I'm at full health now, so doing a heal all wouldn't prove anything. But I will try and keep an eye on that going forward. There's the item we need to pick up, so we're not too far from the end. Alright, the heal now works as soon as the dog is back. Now this guy's clipping through the walls, clearly, but I can't hit him from that angle. Although we've definitely seen instances in which we could hit people from weird angles. So, got a big named guy here. He's doing pretty large amount of damage.
Fame has increased.
I'm glad the game just doesn't end once you pick up the quest item. I could see people thinking that might have been a good idea, but that would be very abrupt, to say the least. Can't do barter until we're level 21, so just increasing our pet mastery is pretty much all we need to do. I don't think that there's any other thing. Let's see, -1 to spell requirements, 2 mana per second recovery. That probably isn't a terrible thought to move towards. Minions are enraged, but I believe this is a spell. I don't think this is just a item. It would have this weird side more rounded frame around it if it was a persistent thing. So increase offensive spells, increase spell casting. Other options would be increasing our abilities, but none of these abilities actually help at all. Yeah, I don't think that there would be any spell here I'd want or whatsoever. So it's just these items. Maybe summoning a beam golem. Maybe that would make sense instead of summoning another imp. Advanced spellcasting makes sense, and then Ember Strike kind of makes sense. So a top tier spell kind of makes sense. A top tier summon of a golem kind of makes sense. But that's it, really. And I've almost completely forgotten what the main story is at this point. And that was just 30 minutes. Okay. Let's see. We might as well just start over here.
Good day to you.
And identify these last couple things. And then see if any of it is something we want. We have a bold scale bolt. That's not gonna work. So we'll sell that. There's no reason to sell these. I guess, let's see how many, we have town portal scrolls I want to experiment with, whereas I feel like identify scrolls, even if they did merge into something better, it really wouldn't matter. Did I not identify this? Let's see. 10 armor, boots. I'll be careful here. Right. So we're looking for any item that has a purple indicator here. That way we could see if it's a special item, unique item. That's really all we're trying to buy, though, is unique items. So if they don't have any unique items, then I don't really care. Let's see. Court Finery. This increases health and damage reflected, and it's better than what I've got right now, so I might as well buy that. Meanwhile, let's go and sell that and sell that. Is there something else to consider, though? The Berserker Cord. That's another unique item, so we might as well buy it. But I am probably wasting money too. There's some weirdness on how things are shown, by the way. Like, it doesn't seem like it always puts the thing that's equipped on the left or the right. Instead, it's putting the thing that you have on the left or right, either because the game thinks it's better or because it's just being weird. Like, I'm not even really being able to tell the difference. Alright, so better armor here, more purple-ish armor. In the long run, we're just going to get more and more purple, and then we're going to just get more and more. Let's see. This was increased gold find, so we are going to put this on, but I need strength, so I actually don't have everything I need yet. Right, now over here, there's nothing. We didn't do anything with that. We have a discolored fire ember, which, let's see, dull, discolored, would put these all in the right places. And at this level, I'm not sure if I shouldn't just transfer all of these into the better forms. And we'll just stack these. I'll make a couple of those too.
Hi there.
Right. Transmute. Transmute. Transmute.
Smiles on you.
Transmute.
Kind to you. Fortune smiles on you.
Just keep on transmuting all of these into larger piles of the even bigger 1600 health. We're up to 1000 health, so maybe it's starting to make sense. Like the big health potions only do 800. That being said, I'm also not really in a terrible position because what it does, it seems like to me, is does this transmute anything? No. So merging those two did not do anything. It just revealed that there is yet another level here of 2000 health points. Above super health potion, you have a grand health potion, which I'm not surprised by that in any bit. So what it clearly should be is something along this pattern, I guess. We'll stack these here. We'll stack that there. We'll stack these in the right row. And yeah. I think we're doing good. This would be 100 mana over 4 seconds. We have 175. Frankly, it's not really a problem to just start doing that. Because we're not using mana enough anyways. Yeah, it's a little dangerous, but not terribly dangerous. Oh, and I forgot to try to see if we could do anything with the town portal scroll.
Hi there.
We're gonna see if this would transmute into anything. Nope. I figured it wouldn't. Didn't transmute that
Smiles on you.
into that. Okay.
Good luck to you.
Hi there.
Let's see. Does she have anything of interest? Unique wise or spell wise? We have enough money. It wouldn't kill me to start buying these gems, because we're really not getting the gems through drops in any reasonable amount of time. So flow ember, pure ember, flow ember. It really is nothing to just grab it all. And we're sitting on enough money that makes sense.
Goodbye.
Although we might also be
Oh, hello.
approaching a point where it
Fortune is
it
kind to you.
would make more sense to
Good luck to you.
gamble for a larger weapon. I do need to remind myself that we were not really running into a good situation. I wonder if the Chaos Gems should be here. And then the dull flow ember should be up here. Or if perhaps there's a whole system here that needs to be considered. Because there's just not enough space. Let's just double check our quest. We have story quest, level 17, and find the almost clicked the abandon button on accident. Mind the other thing. Find the next piece of special amber. Yeah, it kinda does feel like maybe Diablo 1 did just have a city. But even by that standard, Torchlight City is way less interesting. The characters, I think, are way less voiced and way less of a focus. Like, I can still tell you one of the main characters was named Deckard Cain in Diablo 1, and I'm not sure if the other shopkeepers and NPCs had names, but there was at least that one main character, and even that one main character doesn't really feel like there's an equivalent in this game. Like, I don't know. I know that the guy who died was named Brink, but I don't know who the girl that was with Brink's. I don't know what her name is. And that's mostly because it just wasn't said out loud. So we're on the ruins. So this might be a boss level, the way this is labeled. Or maybe they just don't put floor 2 on their labeling system, which if that was the case that would be annoying, but it would also not foreshadow that there will be a floor. Well, they don't put floor, perhaps they don't put floor 1 to foreshadow that there will be a floor 2. We're back now in the main game to one-shot kills, so it was just the portal section that we were doing up to this point that was being difficult. Oh, that being said, I do need to keep an eye on my health more and more. Like, I really probably should cast like that hit right there from that wisp took out half my health. And I'm clicking, but I'm having trouble hitting or clicking on something, so you can see how the mouse control, which is mostly all this is. My inventory is already full, by the way. But you can definitely see how that inventory system doesn't really work. Alright. It's so ridiculous. Alright. Can we deal with inventory for just a second? I have this berserk cord, and as soon as I could get the strength up, I was gonna put that on. But see, we have a dull pure ember. We have an old mana. I have an extra mana I shouldn't have. Let's see. Alright. Identify scrolls, first of all. Definitely that's gone. We have the court finery equipped. So that's no way better. And that's no way better. That's no way better. That's no way better. We have a brainy chain belt. Just not as good as the Shadow Sash, and it wouldn't really matter because as soon as we get our strength up to 12, we're going to put on that. This, weapons. It's such a weird position to be in. There we go. I'm just going to drink that to get it out of the way. And I think, frankly, we're going to sell a stack of 20 town scroll portals. There needs to be some metric here that doesn't just increase the drop and then I have to dig through all the trash, but instead just increases the quality of everything that is dropping. And if they had built the entirety of the game around a concept like that, that would be amazing. Again, in 2019, what I would want for a Diablo-esque game is a more improved, accelerated experience that had some kind of stat that was just a quality stat. Look how big this guy is. Now, that being said, this is probably as big as a character could be depicted as.
I can't carry anymore.
Because frankly, you are getting into the realm of it not even fitting on the screen. Just so much garbage. And I guess we are getting the increased pet mastery, so we will see perhaps a improvement on its travel time, but I don't think that improvement's going to be so much higher.
Your pet has departed.
So when he runs away, let's see. Yeah, it's about 1 minute and 10 seconds. So we're maybe losing 10 seconds, just a small percentage. And again, heal all does not work when the pets are gone. That's crazy. That is insane, because that would be the one time I would want heal all to work more than anything else. That's gotta be a glitch. That cannot be the intended way things are supposed to happen. Yeah, as I move forward here into potentially a boss fight even, like the last thing I would want to do is have to deal with a inability to heal myself.
Your pet has returned.
And yeah, he's barely getting 1,000 gold for what he just sold. There we got a shaking screen animation that was kind of unique.
If this shaking continues, it will destroy the town and collapse the tunnels. Something massive must be stirring below. I can't imagine what could do this. Go, find the source of these quakes and put an end to them. Something is trying to slow us down. It fears us. I take heart in that.
Sounds like she might be corrupted too. But see, here's the thing. It's showing a picture of her face and not even her name. So, like, how am I supposed to remember her name when she's barely in the game and it's not repeated often enough? These characters, I assume, aren't even given names, since the game asks you to
from the ruins
type your
above
own.
and falls down into oblivion.
Maybe my
These
guy's name is
caverns are
Alaric?
lost to time, primal. The ember veins
Or maybe the
change
bad
as
guy
they
was named
descend,
Alaric?
shifting colors, first hidden, then gleaming and glittering. It fascinates me now, as it did when I was young. Even the blight seems more pure here. My experiment may have succeeded if I had used ember from deeper in the mountain, closer to the source. There is still the corruption, of course, but with endless life, that becomes a small matter. Perhaps I will gain more here than I ever imagined.
There's a slight question here about what is the source of the ember? Like, in Diablo you were finding gems, diamonds, rubies, things like that. Those are obviously just things made by mineral pressure and natural phenomenon. Ember being just this made up quantity, and you're in a very different position because you just don't know what it is. Notice also that we went from a layout of locations that were water-filled ruined temples. Now we're in pillars with fog. So how this exists exactly one floor below what seemed like an ocean is questionable, to say the least. I could imagine it happening. It does actually happen in reality that you'll have
Your
caverns.
path has departed.
Oops. I didn't mean for that to happen. Well, while we're waiting for him to come back to potentially send him back again, we have another unique chest item that I don't think we can actually use. But it's increased experience gain, so I kind of need to use it. Warrior's corset. Let's see. Meanwhile, I guess we'll just look at other things. Still waiting to just level up to put on the sash. Seems like we're going to get some occasional items. Right. 4% increased experience gain for a little bit more damage and an increased attack speed.
Your pet has returned.
This is a weapon I'm gonna use. On the other hand, apparently. Now I clicked the wrong button, so I was not intending to do any of the things, send them out at all. Sell that, sell that. See what this is. Sell that, sell that. This is increased experience, so I need to put it on, but we've got several unique items now that don't mix and match. The only thing we do have that even slightly matches is the Gorgon equipment that I don't think I'm going to actually be able to match, or the Berserk equipment. And then we've got spells, potions, and other things. Yeah, we're gonna kind of quickly need to, I think, have to transport ourselves back. Alright. So faster attack speed is proving itself to be helpful.
Gained a level.
Right. So remember here we needed strength of 12. Our strength is at this. So 1, 2. And then I don't even know if I want to go up to 15, but I'll just do it. Just in case. And increase our barter ability 1 more. And then that now allows us to wear this instead of that, which significantly increases our armor ability. So yeah, we lost the increased gold find, but everything else I think we just had to get rid of. So identify this and realize that's nothing. So this is the right way. So the other path must have been the wrong way. What is this? A pot? You also have a kind of significantly quieter experience here with the bow compared to the shotgun. It seems like the bow also has a ricochet ability as much as the shotgun did. So there's an improvement on that matter. What we'd be looking for now, more than anything, would be to replace the shotgun with a particularly slow item that does major damage. But it should be a ranged item because I've put a lot of damage into dexterity, which increases the amount of damage that a ranged item does. Notice this layout here where basically nothing happens. You'll get to these little edges and you'll get a few spawning enemies.
My pack is full. My pack is full.
And we're about time to send the dog again. Let's see. Nope. 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 If I could find something magic that I could use.
My pack is full.
Your pet has departed.
Yeah. Some magic staff. That would be super helpful. So make sure we pick up everything while we're at it. And the fact that they moved us to a new area with this rumbling tells me floor 17 here, which we are on, is probably not a floor where we're gonna find a boss. I suspect we'll go through at least 3 floors, so floor 20 would be my guess. Who knows which way is the right way to go on this. You basically pick up the gold before you reach it, or just as you barely touch it, where it seems like you have to be standing on top of things. And see, you get it before you even are on top of the gold.
You have triggered a trap. Your pet has returned.
He's getting about 1,000, and that does not seem right. So, am I getting ripped off here? It's hard to tell because it might just be that I'm getting a bunch of garbage. That might be the case. And I'm just sending him out over and over again with these garbage items. They don't make it obvious though, so yeah, I've said that before, but yeah, if it was supposed to be a case that when you send out your dog you get a lesser return than going to the shopkeeper and talking yourself, I'd be okay with that as long as it told me. I'm not particularly okay with it if that's what's happening right now and I'm not realizing it. There's really not enough polish on any single area. I would have been much more satisfied if I had spent 10 levels in the original mines and the original mines layouts looked a lot more varied and different instead of going from the mines to, I don't even remember what we went from the mines. We went from the mines so quickly to something else, and so quickly from that something else to something else, and so quickly from that something else to something else, that it really has just become this blur of what are effectively tile sets, but done in a much more modern, visually appealing way than what you would call a tile set. Tile sets, I mostly use that phrase for like RPG games that look like they're from the NES era. But definitely some work should have been placed to make things more memorable and more long lasting. I don't feel like what they could have gotten away with is having the concept of a platform area and then making 12 different styles of platform areas, because there's enough variety in the edges and that they are different. So we have the water effect music was particularly loud, so I turned down the sound when we first heard the waterfall. So yeah, I would assume there's some kind of monster at the bottom of all these this cave, this giant, never-ending cave that is spewing out ember and corrupting people. But that concept doesn't really happen in nature, as far as I can think of. Like, the closest I can think is that there are definitely viruses and things like that infect people's or animals' bloods, but nothing that is as prominent and crazy as infecting an entire mountain with something that looked desirable like Ember and then corrupting people on a high mental level. The closest thing, I guess, is maybe there's a mold or something a mold or fungus that controls some animals. It might do something like that, or rabies. Rabies is possibly a good example of a disease virus that that controls people's animals' high level behavior. But we definitely don't have a lot of that happening. Still not really sure why these gates exist, other than very possibly
I can't carry anymore.
a indicator that you've already cleared out an area, or an indicator that you've been in that direction. Just every 10 minutes. It's not even, it's getting worse too. All this inventory stuff. It's getting way worse. But I need that money if I'm even going to start to try to play this game the right way. So I don't know what you can do with that. Yeah, the gate stopped all of those guys from approaching me, so perhaps gates are a simple and efficient way to debug issues with the game. If there's just too many enemies attacking at the same time from one direction.
You have sprung a trap.
It's such a clicker. Such a clicker. And I'm so confused now. It's like, did I go this way? Did I come from this direction? I think I came from this direction, yeah. Again, we're getting into repetitive criticisms, but they're just reasserting themselves over and over again. A single arrow to point the direction I should be going on the side of the menu. That's all I would like to see. Maybe I could zoom out the map. Would that help much? Not really. Just maybe ever so slightly better. Like, now I can see a little bit more of the map. It really didn't change a lot of information I'm getting from it, though. And I think we're just gonna have to kind of abruptly end the recording here. Seems like we keep getting into the cycle where 30 minutes is spent doing one thing, 30 minutes is spent doing something else. Frankly, if I was just trying to run up the episode count, I would have made 30-minute episodes in general. It would have worked perfectly well here. But I know we're trying to get to Torchlight 2, so stretching it out. Stretching out the episode count is not something I'm trying to do. Only so much left. Alright, that's it for the dog. Meanwhile, the rest of this stuff is all garbage. I guess you know what we should do is let's do an experiment here. I sent the dog. The dog The pet meets you in town and brings you 779 gold for the sale of items. Alright. So, let's go ahead and sell the rest of these items. And I'm not really willing to get rid of the shotgun. It has a stone in it, so there's a reason not to sell it because of that, but also it's possible, although unlikely, that it has anything in it that I would like. Armor wise, let's see what we've got. Do we have anything? And I just want to go through this rather quickly. That is purple. Any kind of unique armor that's worth buying? That's another question, I guess, is it really worth buying? No, I think we're perfectly fine. I got things to do. We can talk to this guy,
Quite lyrical.
since we defeated the guy.
Hi there.
Alright, so we can sell that for 250.
Good day to you.
Let's go and talk to this guy and get another quest. This is floor 18. So we went from a quest that was floor 17 to a quest that was floor 18. I'm just gonna stack all of those in there. I'm gonna also put this here, and we're getting dangerously close to the point where I think I probably need to put these in the shared storage instead. Just all unique items go into shared storage going forward. Yeah, I don't think it would make much sense to wear the Midas outfit at all. Right, and we have a discolored cold ember and then pure embers. Do we have any pure embers? No, we don't. So yeah. I'm not sure exactly how I want that to work. Let's see. All right. So right now I have Roba's item, which is increased experience, which this item would never have increased experience. Right now we have the Gorgon gloves, which would give us more armor, but we have 2 Gorgon items right now, and that would be, if I got down to 2 Gorgon, it would slow down my attack speed. That being said, it is probably a smart move to start thinking about putting this on instead, or just something better in general. Like 20 health stolen per hit is probably way better than attack speed. So much for the Gorgon gloves. Then we have the Midas thing, that if we could find the Midas rings, which is what I imagine what we're looking for, that would potentially be a smart move. But it would have the Midas rings. Let's see, confusing copper ring, protected gold ring, summon flaming sword, summon flaming sword 5 versus 3. This will require level 25. Let's see, binding epic copper ring requires level 26. Heal all 3. Crack deep ember. So no reason not to buy embers.
See ya. What
By
can
the
I
way,
do?
we haven't found any
Bye.
spells in a while.
Hi there. Good journey.
Who sells rings?
Good to see ya.
By the way, would be maybe
I
this
got
guy?
things to do. Well, hello.
No, he doesn't. So,
Good journey. Hi there.
what's her name, by the way? It says Syl, S-Y-L.
What can I do for you?
She sells rings, so if I was gonna find a Midas ring, it would be from her.
Bye.
Hi there.
And I don't think it's worth the money in right now to try and
Fortune is kind to you.
try and save or try and enchant anything. So after several steps up, we're to the point where we're at cold ember, which would do ice resistance or ice ice damage, plus 12 ice damage, on top of 250
Good
physical ice physical damage. Alright. So here's gonna be our experiment, and I know we're going a little long here. This destroys the item and returns the dull skull. So I just lost that item. So I am committed now. Whether I want to put the dull skull back into this and steal 5 health, I don't know. Probably not really. Like, I don't think, even though we are doing as much as we possibly can here, I don't feel like we're really saving the day as far as these kind of items. So, crack cold ember versus this and this. That's backwards. Plus 4 damage for pure ember, dull flow ember, scarlet core ember. Why is core ember over here? Health recovery per second. Yeah, 6 health recovery per second is probably way better an item. So we'll socket that in and use that instead of stealing health. But the rest of those gems are questionable at best, whether they're really worth it.
Well, hello.
And we forgot to transmute
journey.
things. Let's see. Dull skull. Skull, crack skull, dull skull.
Well, hello.
And we need more of these.
Fortune is kind to you.
Let's see.
Is kind to you.
Shift control doesn't do anything.
Smiles on you. Fortune smiles on you. Fortune smiles.
Maybe if I had 3 stacks of
Smiles on you.
of something, then it would work that way.
Fortune is kind to you.
But I doubt it would
Fortune is
even
kind
then.
to you. Fortune is kind to you.
Alright. So I'm in a decent position
Good journey.
with our mana potions now. Not that we're really using them. And stack more of those up. Not that we're really even using these. Like, I'm sitting on big health potions for 800. The next would be giant health potions for 1200. And by the time I start needing giant health potions, I suspect I'll also be in a bad position in general. I should also consider eating the fish meat, because it would recover only 600 health, where this does 800 health. So yeah, I probably should either sell this or eat it as an item. So I'm gonna set that to just fish meat, and we're gonna eat the fish and get rid of it and never fish again. And looky here,
Ale.
we have another side quest that we can start. So again, next request, we're gonna go through the portal and we're gonna deal with some stronger characters. So the movement continues, as it were, and still getting fame, still getting skills as fast as possible, still trying to get our barter skills up. Once everything is as cheap as humanly possible, then and then we can start putting things into Treasure Hunter, which is really what we want. There's really not anything else. Advanced spell casting would eventually increase our mana to the point where we probably would never even need any mana potions. So maybe we would sell the mana potions, and once they've been transmuted, maybe they'd have more of a value then. But I really don't know. According to the game, we're 7 hours into this on easy. Apparently we've never died, and that's where ancestors come from. Well, no, because the deaths are 0. So ancestors must be an indicator. Have you retired a character and started over again? We've transmuted almost 81 items, used 21 portals, we've broken almost 500 barrels, cast 343 spells. That's really questionable, though, when we look at the inventory about what does it take to rank up a spell, because it seems like I've used the identify item like crazy, and the heal item seems like something that I would have been able to do, and this is heal all 2, so do I need to unlearn heal all 2 and learn heal all 3 at this point? Because it really isn't even healing as much as it should. If it's only healing 200 and we're up to 1,000. And I think we'd probably skip the heal all 4 or heal all 5 if we can get to that level. Is there anything else to really look at or understand here? A lot of XP for doing this, whereas some of these other ones, yeah, the vast majority of your XP is coming, I think, from completing quests versus just killing enemies, which I kind of would prefer it to be the other way around. I think getting handed XP is a little annoying. Wow, I just looked, we're 19 minutes over. Well, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me even further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.